What's going on, people? Good morning. Wednesday, the 16th of August. Welcome to the Transfer View. Welcome to United View. About 0.2 of a second before I actually came in shot, I just had this massive sneeze. I don't even know if you heard. I think Owen's good on the button, so you might not even heard him saying, "Bless you."
No, they did not hear that. It was literally, I went 3, 2, head-chew, 1.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, massive sneeze. A little bit under the weather, man. Last day or so. I think all of the traveling and the time zones and the jet lag and everything is just caught up a little bit. So a little bit run down. But the transfer view must carry on. Oh man, we are going to be talking about Harry Maguire. Before we do the do's and don'ts and the pleasantries and big up everyone. We're going to be talking about Harry Maguire because he's put his foot down, said he's not leaving. I'm not leaving. He's not leaving. Mason Mount criticism as well. I want to talk about that. Loads of people getting involved in that on social media. Some I agree with, some that I don't agree with. His brother obviously coming out and defending him. His brother Lewis. Martial exit on the cards as well. We're going to talk about that and where that's come from. Pavard move now unlikely, and Henderson staying. But before we get into that, as per usual, let us know where you're watching from. Big up to you. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Members who are in the chat, you guys already know what it is. You've been here before. You've done this before. Get involved. And if you would like to be a member, remember you can. Get your exclusive perks, get your emojis, get your full-time view call-in as well, by the way, after every single game. And your UV Raw, which anyone who's a UV member will tell you is a unique look. I think the word is unique. It's a unique look behind the scenes at UV of day-to-day goings-ons. But yes, also, like someone just said there, Kristen, 30 more subscribers. 30 to hit 150.
29 to be specific.
Oh,
you can
29.
see it top right-hand corner. Yeah,
right,
we're at 971. So we're
there
currently 29 away. Now, I don't know if that's possible. 29 in one show. But I feel like if you put it out there early, you never know. You never know. What a crescendo that could be. What an ending that could be.
Exactly. That would be brilliant.
We've got an hour to do it. So why not? Why not?
100%. I might even tweet actually during the show, sort of say 9 away. If you haven't subscribed to United View, do it here.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire, because we all spoke about this yesterday, Owen. You did the breaking news after a morning show straight away, actually.
I told I was a liar. I was told I was a liar.
You were told you are a liar. What do you know? You're a muppet. You know, stop bringing us this news, Owen, because this isn't the news that we want to hear. So it's your fault. The hounds were out for you. Then it got to the Flexing KG show a little bit later on with a little bit more information. Me and KG had our say on it yesterday. And then more news has transpired sort of late yesterday or after the Flexing KG show had been done. That's led us to this point, which is what?
Right. So officially, the Harry Maguire deal is off. So again, it was reported widely by basically everyone at the same time. And kind of the same quotes were coming out about this. Damashev saying that Harry Maguire's move to West Ham is off. It's believed the departure this late would have left Manchester United little time to bring in a replacement, which, hold that thought, we'll touch on that. Eric Ten Hag has maintained that Harry Maguire is an important player and he's happy for him to stay and fight for his place. Now, there were some quotes that came out from sources close to Maguire saying that Harry respects West Ham and David Moyes, but to be clear, there was never an agreement in place between Harry and West Ham. The process was less advanced than portrayed in the media. For example, at no point has Harry spoken to Moyes. Harry remains settled at Manchester United, loves the club, and this is the last bit, believes he will get plenty of opportunities to play this season. Now, that last bit. Let me start with that last bit first, Flex. He will get plenty of opportunities to play this season. I read that and I went, where is the evidence? Where is the proof that that will be the case? And yesterday, I had when the news first came out saying that the move had collapsed or it was stalling. Some people described it as stalling. Some people described it as it had collapsed. And the whole point about saying he wanted that payoff, that money. And that number has been disputed. Some say 15 million, some say 7 million, some say 10 million. But it looked like he wanted some kind of compensation to bridge the gap between his 200k or 190k a week contract and his reported 100k a week contract at West Ham. Now, at the time, I said, well, look, That's somewhat commonplace in football. I know a lot of people say that's not that common. It's quite common in football. When you go from a big contract to a smaller one, they like to try and bridge it, sometimes in the form of a signing on bonus from the buying club, sometimes in terms of an exit payment from the selling club. We've done that in recent history with people like Alexis Sanchez. But throughout this whole thing, even before the West Ham stuff with Maguire, I said people need to sit him down, and if he doesn't see it himself, need to explain the writings on the wall. You said previously, didn't you, that you felt that he knew the writing was on the wall? Clearly, he does not know the writing is on said wall, because, again, there was these reports that Gareth Southgate had told him, look, Harry, it's going to be very difficult for me to pick you when it comes to the Euros if you stay at Man United and you don't play for another season. Well, okay, now, has he called you bluff? Because there is no way, if you're Gareth Southgate, you can look at him and say, mate, you haven't played at this point at the end of the season. If it's the same season as last season, you haven't played for 2 years regularly as the starting centre-back at Man United. You're the 4th or 5th choice, but however you want to look at it. And if he's content with that, and if he says, oh, there'll be plenty of opportunities to play this season, I'll just say, what are you seeing then? And those people around him need to say, look, Harry, geez, man. Like, I get we want to get the payment and we didn't want to work that out, but like, if this was over some exit payment, or if this was over the speed of things, like, we've blown it. We have blown it. You might have blown your international future. And if you're happy with that, to sit where you are, then I think, again, you need to have a look at your own mentality, because like, no one sees a future there. Nobody does. Like, no. the Monday, even when Martinez came off, who came on?
Yeah.
Lindelof.
That tells you exactly.
Because he's not, he's not that choice.
And none of us were surprised by that, but as well.
And and the atmosphere around him, we've all seen that. It's toxic. Whether you agree or not about booing him, I was on the side of, I don't think you should be booing your players when they're on the pitch, whatever. But you can certainly say that's a toxic situation and it just needs to be resolved. And it hasn't been. And for another year now, we're going to have that. And from United's point of view, how did they not know? How did they not know that was coming? If you know that we're going to be selling Maguire this summer, or thinking about selling
that as well. Let's not let them off the hook in this as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Anywhere he goes, well, we're going to have to figure that out, because he's not going to be paid 200k a week. Of course he's not. So what are we going to do with that? Have we got to get something in place with him first? And they didn't. And it really, on all aspects of it, it's just incompetence, really. It's a mess.
Yeah. I can see people in the chat now as well. Now he does deserve to be booed. It's clear everything he does is wrong. And this is it, really, isn't it? You see on social media as well, and it's you try to put things into context and have some sort of rationale about the situation. Because I was with you at the Aviva Stadium, I said, look, we shouldn't be booing our own players, man. But then somehow there's always something, and this has been a common theme with Harry Maguire's stay here. There's always been a moment, or an instance, or a decision, or some words spoken, or an action that he does that just adds a little bit of fuel to already rumbling bonfire. And it's like, he doesn't help himself, because now, although again, it's completely his decision. This is like you said, Owen, this is a contractually, legally binded contract that's set in stone, that he's entitled to should this situation arise. And of course, there's going to be things behind the scenes that we're not privy to. We're just making educated guesses from afar, which don't seem like they're far off the situation at hand from really credible sources, right? And what he's done is basically saying, I don't care that I'm not in the manager's plans. Obviously, Erik ten Hag says he is in public, but he's not. I don't care that I'm having a rough time here, and the booing and the going over the top with the insults, I don't agree with. But the general consensus is that fans don't warm to me. They don't want me to play here. Let's just say that, to be polite. I don't care that, like you said there, I ain't going to play for 2 years. I wouldn't have played for 2 years. I'm going to take my chances. And it's coming across like you prefer the money over playing time. You prefer the money over getting a fresh start. Now, again, we can't tell someone what to do with their career. This is his decision. But when it's starting to impact upon our club, and then we're seeing a lack of progress from it, i.e. we can't go out and get the right guy that we do want. We can't involve the team in the way that we want to involve the team. And plus, we don't have any faith in him when he does play, and we can see that it's all broken down. Obviously, we're more vocal about it. Now, At the end of the day, though, back to Man United, this is again, I said it in the Confection KG show, sins of the past, reap what you sow. Like, because we put Harry Maguire on that, he's in a complete position of strength. The guy's even in a position of strength with our manager saying, I don't want you to play here. He's still got the position of power. The player has the power because he has the contract and he has the agreement of what he's owed. So when Man United were going into these negotiations with Harry Maguire, and all of the credible people, I'm sorry, I'm not having this. All of the credible journalists and outlets said it's agreed. The fee is agreed. Not an issue. Personal terms not an issue. That was across the board. Now I know there's internet rumors, and clearly, as we know, from the top of the top, creme de la creme, David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano, here we go, or medical booked in for Caicedo at Liverpool. Didn't mean it was going to happen. I get it. I understand that. But that's from the creme de la creme. But across the board, when there is an agreement in place. The clubs have, and even David Moyes, I'm sure he said in a presser the other day.
Well, he said
they had a bid accepted.
A bid accepted, yeah.
Right. So across, it was, so to hear, whether it's Harry's camp coming out and saying never was on the cards, basically, never spoke to him, respects them, but no, happy to fight for his place. Wasn't that the line?
Yeah, and they said they'd never spoken to David Moyes, or there was never personal terms agreed or something like that.
So that was the line coming out from what was it? Sources close to Maguire.
Sources close to Maguire.
And when it says that, I can tell you for a fact, and this is something I do know. I'm not going to name names. I know specific people where they've said, yeah, Harry's agents have rang me up and said, this, that, and the other. I know that for a fact. It happens.
Well, I remember the story Troy Deeney told it on a podcast, didn't he? About the guy when Harry Maguire's brother called him up.
There you go.
Don't talk to me about Harry Maguire. And he went, if he's got a problem, call me himself.
There you go. In fact, I forgot about that one. That's just one. Well, that one's out there. So you put two and two together with that. But I was even talking about another person on top of that as well. And a couple of people, I know people who say, yeah, he's rang up. And because they're always trying to, when he's been getting battered in the media, obviously they're on the phone trying to. This happens a lot with players' agents within the game. If people know someone's agent or their brother or someone who looks after, phone calls go around all the time. Listen, when you said that on, I don't know, BBC, or when you said that on Sky, could you just, do you know what I mean, man? He's having a bit. It happens all the time. So when I'm hearing that from credible sources again, that it's Harry Maguire's camp saying X or saying Y, they're in control of that narrative. They're in control of that narrative from the camp. So to say that there was nothing there and he's happy to fight for his place, those words, it's insane, because what's he fighting for? Basically, and I know this is going to sound melodramatic, right? He's basically hoping for an injury to two of our centre-halves. Essentially. I know, I'm not saying that he's sitting there saying, hope he gets injured, but that's the only way he's going to play.
Well, not even necessarily that. He might just be hoping of, Southgate's going to pick me anyway, it doesn't matter.
Actually, Owen, and on that, yeah, has maybe Gareth Southgate done something that, I know you're not his biggest fan. Do you reckon he did do some, do you know what, if it doesn't work out, mate, we'll find a way. You'll still be part of it. We'll find a way. Because before, accepting this West Ham thing, it was like, actually, even he's spoken to him and said, listen, mate, if you ain't playing, I can't pick you. And it gathered speed pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people say, well, then Colwell was going to come and take his place. Other options. Proof will be in the pudding when it comes to Gareth Southgate. Gareth Southgate will continue to pick Harry Maguire because that's what he does. Continue to pick him for the Euros next year. When it comes to the contract side of things, I see people say, well, last year, when you're talking about Frankie de Jong, you were like, go get your money, mate. And look, again, if you're contractually obligated to get a certain amount of money, you're well within your rights to get it. And I don't begrudge Harry Maguire for saying, hey, I'm owed this. Who's going to get it? Who's going to give it to me? Again, whether it's United, whether it's West Ham, whether it's whoever. I don't begrudge him for that. What I do, begrudge him is probably a strong word. What I do question him for is this something that he's willing to sort of stop any move over? Not to say that he shouldn't get his money or stuff that he's owed.
Well, he has.
Fine with that.
He has stopped the move happening.
But again, when in those negotiations, is this a deal breaker? For me, that would be the point, because remember the Frankie de Jong thing? We were saying at the time, "I'll go get your money," because we thought he actually wanted to come. He never wanted to go. According to these things, he did want to go. He was, I'll go to West Ham, just got to get my money first. Well, he didn't really want to go to West Ham because you drew the line in the sand when he came to it as this is what I'm going to stay over. And again, where are these people around him saying, mate, Harry, I don't know if there are other people interested. I mean, I know Romano said, a week or so ago, other Premier League clubs are interested. No Premier League club was as close as West Ham to getting this one done, Hence why they're like, well, it's off. And again, Man United are not off the hook when it comes to this, because the narrative that they tried to say there, where it was, well, it's just a bit too late to get a replacement in. Bullshit.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
2 weeks left.
It's not. Yeah.
2 weeks. You kidding me? 2 weeks left. It's too late to get a replacement. And come on, man. We signed Sabitzer in a day in January on loan. So let's not say that it's too late because this is going to take a load of time. No, it's not. That's just laziness. That's just that's
the reminder, isn't it?
Maguire.
That's the reminder.
Things a bit difficult. So replacement, that's going to take time. I get we want to focus on midfielders. No problem with that. But again, that's when people get into why is it all like siloed like this? Why is it just we can only do one thing at one time? That's it. If we're going to sell Maguire, we got to work on a defender. That's going to take us 2 weeks, and then we don't get a defender. I know it might be greedy here, and Glutton's one of the 7 or whatever, but why not both? Why not? It's just one at a time thing. It's like, oh my God. So because of that, we're going to get to Pavard later on, but off the table, done.
Yeah. They said those talks are redundant. You can't talk about who you're going to bring to replace Harry Maguire. They ain't going anywhere. And clearly, as we already know, we are playing a massive juggling act in terms of 1 in, 1 out now. Trying to raise. We're into the reserve kitty, aren't we? In terms of selling so that we can raise money to buy, because we've spent our initial budget on the 3 players that we bought in Onana, Mount, and Højlund. So this is a bad situation, man. I can't play this down. Sometimes I like to. Not sometimes. I always like to try and keep things in context and not overreact or underreact and kind of just look at something for what it is. This is a bad situation but it's also a bad situation of which the player has control over and could have put a stop to. And it is worrying that he's willing to stay in this environment. Every person and their dog can see that the situation with Harry Maguire is untenable. It can't be resurrected, it can't be fixed, it can't be revived, it can't be brought back to life. It can't. It just cannot. It's never going to change. It doesn't matter what Erik ten Hag says in public. We know not to believe anything Erik ten Hag says in public, and we know he's not happy with Maguire because he's 5th choice. So that doesn't matter. He's lying. I'll say that now. Erik ten Hag is lying in public. And also, like KG said, he's saying that because like every manager should, until they've actually signed for another club, you might need them. God forbid if, 3 of our centre-backs do get injured. I'm not trying to judge anything up here, by the way. Touch wood, everything, yeah? If it does, we pay him an awful lot of money. He's going to have to play. We're all going to be like, oh my God, he's got to play, but he's going to have to play. But some people, again, this has really riled up a lot of people. Some people saying, listen, put him in the reserves. Put him in the reserves until his contract's up. And this is where it comes down to, I know it's not a very good asset, but it is an asset. And according to his contract, this is where, again, if you watch like the Amazon documentary of Arsenal, when they had the Aubameyang situation, legally, you can't just strip a guy of their first team tendencies because tactically he doesn't fit, or he refused to move because you wanted to force him out. The contract speaks for itself. And that's what I mean. Harry Maguire has the power. He does.
Well, I like it when people say, people go, rip up his contract. They go, rip up his contract. Then you would pay him the money he wants. Anyway.
And
that's
under
the whole
what
crux of it.
Under what? You'd pay him what he wants anyway. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, you might as well just do that for the move to West Ham. Get the extra 30 million.
You probably get sued on top of that for unfair dismissal. You can't. This is what I'm talking about, us reaping what we sow. The sins of the past. You can't give someone that big contract under a different CEO when Ed Woodward was here, making dumbass decisions under Ollie and giving him captain and giving him all this status. Yeah, then when it comes to undoing it, then the player's entitled to say, piss off. I'm going to make this as difficult as I can, even at the sacrifice of my own career, which that's what we can't believe. You're willing to put all of this ahead of actually getting some game time, fresh start. So how much of this is actually affecting you? If at the first chance of being able to get out, you haven't taken it. You've chosen to dig your heels in. And that's your prerogative. But we can't let the club off the hook because we're now in a position where we can't just go, You're not allowed to be in first team training. You're going in the resis. Why? Not allowed to do it. The law, you're not allowed to do that. And then you can't just rip it up and make him a free agent. We signed a contract. It's our own fault. This is our own fault. The more I'm thinking about this, I know everyone's angry at Maguire, and I do share that because it says a lot about where his head's at versus where it isn't, and what his ambition is versus what it isn't. It does say a lot about that. But the more I'm thinking about it, and I know we can't change it now, I'm like, we made that bed, and now we have to lie in it for the like.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree with
Same
that.
with Phil Jones.
I don't disagree with that. You know, it's the Ed Woodward legacy, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
Ed Woodward's legacy. You know, and I said, and that's an hour that we always have to hold, because whenever they talk about the most expensive defenders of all time, Maguire's always top of that list, and it's embarrassing. You know, because we go, oh my God, look how, you know, we paid 80 million quid for this guy, and he's on 200k a week on, what was it, like a 6-year contract or something ridiculous?
Dave says, but we can send him on loan to Stockport County or Altrincham.
What did I say earlier on in this thing, though? I still would not be shocked right now. I think the West Ham loophole's back in effect. I thought, you know, I didn't think he was going to go there this summer permanently, but come January, I still won't be surprised if it gets in, maybe goes out on loan, gets ready for the Euros. I still wouldn't be shocked with that, because I still think if Gareth Southgate put enough pressure on him and said, Harry Maguire, you have not played at that point for like 18 months, I cannot pick you, suddenly that openness to a move would get right back up once again. And and I wonder what the reaction from his teammates or from those inside the dressing room would be, because, you know, you look around and go, well, that guy was happy to leave, happy to go. He's here. You know, he's on a lot of money. You know, he was a former guy. Let's think of the situation with him. He used to be the captain. Like, he's not anymore. You know,
no, it's not. Going to get the super chats read out, and some interesting comments as well. Red Devil says, Maguire staying, it's Owen's fault, guys. 3 a.m. in the US.
I tell you what, Flex, recently I've been on a stinker of saying stuff's going to happen and the opposite's happened.
Yeah, because you said no one says anything about your judge now. See,
I just like the direct opposite of shit.
I'll tell you what about Judge.
Happened to me.
See, I predicted fucking Nelson Semedo was probably going to handball. He'll handball it against Man United, and he did. Tabasol says, stupid headline, I must say. We have to pay him out. This has nothing to do with Maguire. Where is the ruthlessness you all been talking about? And Tabasol also says, Fleck, why do you have this as a headline, though? You are actually promoting toxicity. The reason this is a headline, Tabasol, big up to you. I know you've been a part of the channel a long time. It's because that's the news. He has rejected a move to West Ham because the club's agreed a fee. So he refuses to leave. He wants to stay. And Maguire to West Ham transfer is off. There is no other headline. The headline isn't Maguire's going to leave to go to West Ham, because he's not. The headline isn't green light for transfer, because it isn't. The headline is the headline. It's a toxic subject because of the situation. That's not because of a headline that we've put there. That's not because of a thumbnail. That's because the news is the news. So saying it's a stupid headline, I respect your opinion, bro, but the headline is the headline. And as you can see, like we're talking through this situation, Man United aren't off the hook because, like I just said, like I said 500 times, it's the sins of the past. This is our own fault. This has nothing to do with Maguire. It does have something to do with Maguire. It does, because
I don't think Maguire's completely innocent in this situation. Look, exactly. The thumbnail says, "I am staying." He is staying. Maguire refuses to leave. Had he decided if he wanted to go, he could go. He could. He plays a part in it. I agree with you. It's not just completely on Maguire. It's also on the club. But at the same time, like, what would you like us to say instead? Manchester United don't negotiate accurately with Harry Maguire for a £7 million payment, so the deal is off. Not very punchy.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's only a certain amount of words you can put in there. But I get what you're saying, Tabasol. Because I have been saying that we can't let Man United off the hook. So essentially, I understand where you're coming from. That, you know, this is our own fault. Joseph says, I'm so pissed with Murto, 60 million gone. And Joseph also says we should have accepted the McTominay money. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see, because the Harry Maguire situation rumbles on. Well, or does it rumble on? It's over now, isn't it? It's not going.
I don't think that's probably.
But there is still time. You're not telling me deadline day or lead up to that, something can't happen.
Maybe
in the next 2 weeks, like you said, Owen. It's not even deadline day territory. It's 2 weeks.
But exactly.
Apparently, we're moving on to not enough time and this, that, and the other. It sounds like a bit of a cover up to a bit of a cover up to hide the fact that we messed it up. And like you said, we've got to pay him a lot of money. Mason Mount criticism. Let's get to this. What's been happening on social media?
From
And
one
honestly,
topic to
it's
another.
game 1 of the season, right? And we're already in this. Honestly, what's the news?
Right, Mason Mount. Yes, Mason Mount. So Lewis Mount, who of course is Mason Mount's brother, posted a story on Instagram last night, and he quote tweeted, or he put a graphic of what TalkSport had. TalkSport had posted something on Instagram, and TalkSport's post had said Mason Mount's Premier League debut at Manchester United: 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 chances created, 0 crosses, 0 tackles won, 0 aerial duels won. And he responded by saying, quote, "I've tried to let this go all day, but shame on you, TalkSport. These people get enough abuse without you adding fuel to the fire. A reminder, he's had a very successful 18-year career in football and is a good, kind human being, more than I can say for some of your reporters." Now, obviously, this opened a bit of a firestorm on social media. Flex, what did you think about this, and what do you think about the sort of discourse surrounding Mount initially?
I think it's ridiculous. I'm not just saying that because it's our player. This actually happens a lot with new players who go to different clubs. I think it's ridiculous. Look, in this social media game space area, etc., there's a lot of leading candidates who understand exactly how to get conversation going, exactly how to drive engagement on social media platforms, and how to frame things where you see it and it makes you want to comment, it makes you want to banter the other team, and you get more interaction and get more engagement on your post. And TalkSport are the kings of doing that. That's what they do, right? Whether you agree with the presenters on there or you don't, you think they talk a load of rubbish, it's a bit of both, isn't it? Some people talk absolute shit on the radio. Some people are really good. So TalkSport know what they're doing by, after one game, which actually he didn't even play 90 minutes. What did he play? Like 65 minutes? Something like that? I can't remember when he got subbed off.
I think it was like 70, something like that.
Okay, yeah. Well, 70 minutes then, yeah. So to take the snapshot of the stats, let's talk about what this is versus what this isn't, yeah? You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. You're trying to get people to say, look, 55 plus add-ons, first Premier League, didn't score all in pre-season, 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 this, 0 that, and subbed off, because you know what the narrative is around the player. So you are adding, his brother's right, you're adding fuel to that already lit fire. You're adding to it for your own gain, and that's the aim of the game. But so let's not act like that's not what TalkSport were doing. That's the first thing. Stop acting like that isn't that, because it is. Secondly, I think people hear the word abuse, right, or players receiving abuse, and then they think of like the worst form. So, this isn't abuse because, someone's not turned up, someone's not burgled his house, or someone's not physically assaulted him, or someone's not, directly wished harm upon him. But again, it's targeted towards him in support that he fails. And Manchester United fans who I've seen getting involved in this, I think give your head a wobble, because I think there's nothing wrong with having an opinion that you don't think the player is going to work after a certain amount of time because you're skeptical about the signer, so you're waiting for him to prove something to you. But let's not sit there and say you basically want him to fail so you can be right. After game 1, 70 minutes, where, by the way, the whole team played shit. Bruno probably had his worst performance in a United shirt, apart from the price he paid to Wan-Bissaka. Rashford, after scoring 30 goals last season, was atrocious. Alejandro Garnacho, young kid, should have got hooked at halftime. Anthony, 80 million, looking like Jared Bowen, and people like Harvey Barnes are better than him right now. But no one. But the thing is, 007's going to come. They've done the same with Mudryk. It's like after 7 whole games at a club, which Mason Mount's nowhere near, by the way, we're going to do the 007 thing on him. When is it going to happen? So it's feeding into the social media narrative, and we forget that there's players on the other side of that and their families who do get sick and tired of it. So I don't think that's a PR spin. I think his brother's right to say, you lot are taking the piss. He's only played 70 minutes for his new club in a game where everybody played shit. And United fans jumping on that, I just think, well, you just rather be right than a player do well for your team. You'd rather be proved right, and we do shit. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I posted, I don't even know what they're called now, an X last night, and saying that I think it's nonsense. I think it's nonsense. And I'm not saying, because this is what's important nowadays, you have to tell people what you're not saying before you actually say it. I'm not saying blindly support someone. You're not allowed to criticize. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that. You can absolutely, I believe anyway, say, I wasn't sold on the signing. I think a lot of people weren't sold on the signing. I think a lot of people said that Mason Mount was my first choice.
That's fine.
When there were those rumors that, you're not going to go for Caicedo over Mason Mount, people wanted to go for Caicedo over Mason Mount. Again, no problem with that. Saying that, again, I don't think he's the best player. I don't think he's that good. No problem with that. But my issue comes whereby, like you said, the sample size is so small, and people are going, but I've seen him play at Chelsea. Last time I checked, Chelsea's not Manchester United. And if we're going to do that, then we're going to say, I saw Rasmus Højlund play all season, so we can't be rubbish. He's, Italian Manchester United fans, I watch Serie A every game. He's going to be terrible. It's this, like you said, for me, it comes across as people want him to fail. People have already made their minds up. He's not good, and they're waiting. They're waiting for something bad and then jumping. See, I told you I was right. I was right that whole time. He's not going to work out. And I want him to fail. That's what it kind of feels like. And as you mentioned, come 6 months' time, December, I tell you what, it's not looking too great. No problem. Come the end of the season, it's not looking great. No problem, because you've got a bigger sample size. When someone's played 70 minutes of football in a game where collectively we were not good, to single out one person and to be like, oh, see, I told you I was right. He's rubbish. No one was good that game. Nobody. If it was Bruno Fernandes's first game, you'd be like, waste of money. If it was anyone's first game, you go, waste of money, because nobody was good. And like you mentioned, with that graphic, the Mason Mount one, they know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Because you can see, all you have to do is go on Google, what's trending, or look on Twitter, trending. You'll see Mason Mount's up there. Google searches, Google trends, Mason Mount's up there. They could have done that graphic about anyone, about any player. But I don't think it would have got as much traction as Mason Mount, because, again, there is a pocket of people that have decided he's not good or he's a flop already. They could have done it about anyone, but they knew what they were doing with Mason Mount. And it's our job as United fans, don't take the bait. Don't take the bait, because that's what they're doing. It's a hook out, and you get reeled in that instance. So, again, for me, I think, in a few months' time, you can say it's not working out. But already to be like, the guy's just shit. And you go, well, but he's our player now. So, let's try. Let's at least try and hope that it works out, as opposed to it's not going to work out. You're rubbish. I know you're rubbish. You're going to prove me every single week that you're rubbish. That, to me, doesn't seem like sort of being supportive.
Well, also, what happened to, there used to be a season's grace, because, everyone wants transfers to work straight away. And because Mason Mount has played in the league before and is obviously from Chelsea, the grace period goes down with players that have already been in the league. Because one of the plus sides of buying players that have played in the league is they don't have to acclimatise, they've got Premier League experience, etc., etc. But as we've seen many a times before, Premier League experience doesn't always guarantee Premier League success in different transfers. It still takes time. This is a new look midfield. This is a new look Manchester United that we're trying to improve upon. This is one that Erik ten Hag needs to get the balance right. Maybe Erik ten Hag looked at that game and says, if I tell you what, for Spurs, I'm going to have to mix this up a little bit. That didn't really work. We can't have them distances. Maybe I'm going to put Mount on the right this time, drop Anthony. Maybe I'm going to go with Bruno, Scott McTominay and Casemiro for this because I need a bit of legs, or, maybe I might just put Eriksen in there for a bit more control. I'm not saying he should do that. I'm just saying we don't know what the thoughts of Erik ten Hag is right now and how he's going to address what happened against Wolves, because the time hasn't passed yet. Why? Because it's only been one game. So when Mason Mount does do well in the season, or he does score a goal, or he does get an assist, or he does have a good game, by this logic, then we shouldn't hear from any of the people that have been criticising him saying he's crap there, because those are the days where you're going to keep quiet because he's actually doing something. God forbid the day that comes where Mason Mount actually starts delivering after one game. I just think it's ridiculous. And if our own fans are doing that to him, what chance has he got?
When it comes to the opposition fans,
what chance has he got?
We know what the opposition fans are going to do. Oh, the Chelsea fans are still talking about it. I know that all of the opposition fans are doing it, and we should join in with them and be like, yeah, you're right. He's rubbish. That doesn't seem... Exactly. He's got no chance then. And
I'm not saying don't call a spade, right? But come on. Like, At least wait for. I always talk about sample size. I always have. This isn't just blindly defending Mason Mount, for no reason. But when did you have to justify supporting your own players after 70 minutes? Like, because some people will say, "Oh, you're just saying that. Oh, yeah, you've met him, or you've taken a picture. Oh, you're just in the club now, or whatever, or you're just you're just one of them supporters who thinks everything's all rosy all the time, and you're not seeing it for what it is." Again, no problem with the opinion of over the course of the season, you don't think it's going to be a successful transfer, but to say he is shit and he is shit now after 70 minutes, I don't get it. And then you're looking to attack other United fans for actually supporting their player, which is what you're supposed to do as a fan. I don't get it.
Well,
I was the first one to say when we signed him, I was like, I didn't expect that. That's not a priority.
Or I think we were all within the thing going. I said I wouldn't give him number 7. I'd have given that to Garnacho. I'd have waited a year. I didn't think that was the right call when it comes to the club, right? And all that kind of stuff. But I mean, you say after 70 minutes, I have seen, and because I know for a fact I've sort of battered these ones back. I've seen people after his first game in pre-season, like 45 minutes in pre-season, go, he's not it.
Yeah,
told you he's not it, and that's why I said I feel like people have made their minds up already, and they're not open. Even if the next game Spurs Mason Mount had a man of the match performance, it would still be he's rubbish.
Yeah,
because the mind's made up.
Exactly. Let's get to the super chats and comments. Duran's the latest member of the UV Members Club. Big up to you, Durain. Sorry. Thank you for joining. Remember, you can join the Members Club anytime you wish. Andy says, Fleck, I know you're close to the club now, but you need to call them out more. Defo, no outgoings now, and Probs, no new centre midfielder and centre back. Look at Chelsea, Enzo, Caicedo, and Lavia. Andy, big up. I can't stress this enough. Doing what we do on that side of fan media and doing this interviews with players and talking to people behind the scenes is great. But I'd always be a fan. And like I've just said within this show, with the Harry Maguire situation, Man United ain't off the hook because their fault for giving him a bloody contract that he's now got the power for. I will call out the club where I can. And again, we'll have to see by the end of the window what happens, because the Maguire situation is a farce. We have got a little bit of money in the kitty to try and get another central midfielder. So let's see. And I say, when you say look at Chelsea, mate, nobody's doing that. Everyone's looking at Chelsea going, what on earth? You can't say that. Like, Man United should be doing what Chelsea are doing. Oh, well, then Arsenal should be doing it. City should be doing it. Liverpool should be doing it. Like, everyone's looking at the Chelsea situation going, bloody hell. Signing players on 9-year contracts. Is it even legal? Yeah, exactly. So I think we need to be careful on that. And actually, Chelsea have been here before and spent all that money, and now they're undoing it all. So I'm not saying, don't wish for us to have a lot of money and be able to spend big, but we just need to be careful on that. But I hear you on that, Andy, and I will refrain from, speaking the truth just because, we do a couple of interviews with players or we're in the press conferences, etc., etc. So I'll take your point there, bro. Red Devil says, imagine Evra's debut in today. Mount will be good. Well, yeah, exactly. He'd be written off, wouldn't he? Aminor says, Flex, I love the UV clips. Remember the clips channel is up and running, UV clips. So all your best bits from in the past, all the best bits that are to come or from now, they're all on there, or all will be on there. So make sure you check out UV clips. Please could you ask? Yeah, pinned in the chat. Please could you ask Josh to add the clip of you and KG watching Young Boys, and you said Young Boys won't score in the 92nd minute, and they did. Why would you do that, Aminor? Why? That was. I think Jesse Lingard messed it up, didn't he? He had to just give it to someone.
Well, it's not even that. It's worse than that. It's basically you say it's over. Don't worry about it.
Done.
And KG's going. No, it's not Flex. You're going. It's done. It's done. And then you get up and you say lots of swear words.
That's why, honestly, them live match for you, honestly. Ahmed says, Flex, you're 100% spot on. Toxic fans would rather be right than see a player be successful, but they would never admit it. Yeah, agreed. Kevin says, hi guys. When a player is sold to a club that's going to pay him lower wages, does the selling club always cover the difference in wages? Owen, you were talking about that yesterday, weren't you? It does depend.
Depends. Sometimes the club will selling because they're so desperate to get rid, will bridge it. Sometimes the club that's buying is so desperate to buy the player, they'll bridge it in terms of a signing on bonus or whatever. So it depends. Sometimes it's a hybrid of both. Or
they might be able to agree a smaller fee because they say, actually, we'll buy him for 25 million because we've still got to pay him 5 million in this. So instead of giving you 30, we'll pay 25 because we have to pay
Or
him off.
Sometimes the player is so desperate to leave that they're willing to take a pay cut and they don't care. It depends.
Yeah. Anthony Tracy says 2 10s and a 6 only works if fullbacks step into midfield. Yeah, we've got to find that. We've got to find that balance because it did not work against Wolves, and that's Wolves, so that was very concerning. Marcus S says, "Morning, boys. Maguire has no ambition and is money driven. That said, he has a contract signed by both parties. United need to pay. Simple. Mount needs to be given a chance." I think that's super chat of the day, Marcus. To be honest, I think you can take from what Maguire is doing there. He's choosing the money over ambition and playing. Agreed. He has a contract signed by both parties, so Man United need to play. Simple. And Mount needs to be given a chance. Yeah, I think that's super chat of the day so far. D. O'Neill says, Torres went from Liverpool to Chelsea and had a stinker. Exactly, it happens. Alexis Sanchez from Arsenal to Man United. Look at that. Red Devils Down Under says, I maintain that Mount ain't it. He is the profile needed, but when you look at the drop from Frankie de Jong to Mount, it's clear. But we got to give him time. He may be a stepping stone in the end, and he's nothing like Frankie de Jong, is he? Like in profile. So that's on Eric Ten Hag getting a completely, he's got a midfielder who's 0% like Frankie de Jong, and we still need that type of player actually. Red Devils Down Under also says, go the Matildas. So yeah, I think because the World Cup is that.
Yes, I think the lineups have just come out actually.
Yeah.
So it's going to be in the next hour or so, something like that.
Yeah, I think kicks off at 11 here. So yeah, massive game. I told who was I saying it to? Alexis Guerrero. Obviously he's American. All for it. Americans are the best in the world at soccer, football. And I was like, listen, mate, we're European champions now. We're coming this World Cup. This was before it started. His team out in the groups.
Did you, and I saw that commercial they did before the World Cup. It was the most arrogant
basically
thing
like
you've
won
ever
it.
Seen in your life.
They basically won it.
Ridiculous. It was incredible.
So hold that, and the Lionesses are coming. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
If we win this, oh my God, we'll be world and European champion. Oh, listen, we'll be like the Spain of the noughties.
Yeah.
Red Devils. Oh, he read that. Ash Odu says, do you think us as fans have devalued our players? Sale price to other clubs. Like, could Fred have been sold for more of us if us fans didn't criticize?
I don't think so. I think again, sometimes we get caught in this Man United bubble or stuff like that. In that, like for instance, I saw a lot of Chelsea fans criticize Mason Mount. We still bought him for £55 million. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I don't think that really has any real weight on it that much. Unless, like I said, it's a totally toxic thing where it's just like, but, I don't think it has too much weight on it.
No. And Shubhadeep says, Mount will work. We need a DM, though, desperately. Absolutely. We have to get an Amrabat type. If it ain't going to be Amrabat, it needs to be done. Even the Onana one, man, I don't know, I don't know. He's all right. He's less, because when you get desperate for someone, it's like, what I mean? You just want someone who's can run and tall. Then you may as well just keep McTominay then. Like, you have to get the right player. Do you know what I'm saying? It has to be better than the one that's there already. There's no point selling McTominay or saying McTominay's not good enough, and then you go and get someone who's worse or par. Like, it doesn't make sense. Red Devils Down Under says, Matildas are the only team to beat you guys in 27. Well, let's see. Today's when it matters. You guys are the home team. You know what I mean? You're on home soil. It's a tough day for the Lionesses. Tough morning, but we'll see, bro. We shall see. Nem Green says, Flex, Wamby, man of the match against Wolves. On Wamby, or was he man of the match against Wolves? Yeah, I don't see. I mean, Onana, he should have given away a pen.
Maybe Onana.
But yeah, Onana or Wan-Bissaka, I'd say, yeah. I mean, I like what the Ghost of Rafe the Phantom did as well. And United View Scout says, mystery card Hoyland aside, we may be Chelsea's situation in the Prem placement. We better pray for God's graces during the winter transfer window. What? Because I didn't get that. We may be Chelsea's situation in the Prem placement. Do you understand what that means, Owen?
No.
Sorry, United View Scout.
I think maybe they're still saying with how Chelsea are moving, maybe we need to have a good winter window to kind of catch up. Maybe.
Right. Okay.
Maybe.
All right. Cool.
Sure.
I hear you. Apologies, I didn't quite get that one. Martial exit.
Yes, before we get to Martial exit, I will just say we've got nearly 2,400 people watching, less than 500 likes, actually 365. So if you haven't already, click the like button, get to 500. And by the way, we've got 15 minutes left. We are 7 subscribers away. 7 subscribers away from 150K. That is entirely possible.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was possible. I never experienced it this morning. And if you haven't already, subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. You'll be able to see top right-hand corner, the ticker live in action. So if you haven't already, subscribe. Anthony Martial. Well, yesterday, actually, Flex, there was a behind-the-closed doors friendly, which Manchester United won against Everton. We won 2-0 thanks to an own goal and Scott McTominay strike. But Anthony Martial played his first minutes. He actually played a game, shockingly. And now it's been reported today by the likes of The Sun and others that in addition to maybe some Premier League clubs, potentially West Ham being interested in Anthony Martial, it said both Inter Milan and Fenerbahce have shown interest in Martial in recent weeks, and a move away does look likely. Do you think there's any chance Martial moves? Again, if we're saying this later on in the window now, and you're like, doing replacements and stuff like that.
Nah. I'm going to say no because, and I'll be quick on this. I know we've got some topics to get through as well. I'm going to say no because of what I said before. And it was a bit dodgy when you say it and you're like, oh, bloody hell. But like I said, now he's going to get back fit. He is going to get back fit again. Well, he is now. He was in the squad, was he? He was on the bench. He was warming up the other day, when I saw him jogging up and down. Didn't get on because obviously he needs some minutes in the tank. So that behind closed doors friendly against Everton, trying to get in some minutes. And he will be able to fill in and take some of the pressure off Højlund. Maybe not for long because he might get injured. He's going to get injured at some point. But in a certain period of the season, I'm guarantee you we will see Højlund starting and then maybe coming off after 70 odd minutes because he's young, he's trying to get through to it. Then you can put Martial on for 20 minutes, which actually, with everything said and done, isn't a bad option. It isn't.
Well, look,
it isn't a bad option.
Or the other way around. During the game on Monday, where it wasn't going well and Rashford playing up front clearly wasn't working, even I was looking to the bench going, has he got 45 in him? Has he got? That's what I'm saying.
And obviously he didn't because he hasn't played in all preseason. So Ten Hag's rules and principles we saw with Ronaldo. You can't touch a ball in a competitive game if you've done no preseason. So fair play for Ten Hag to stick into that because, like you said, the ball was bouncing off Marcus Rashford. He had about 4 touches all half, and we had no focal point up front, nothing. And it was crying out for a 100% healthy Martial to be able to come on and, like you said, just play 40 minutes or so. So I think with a young kid like Højlund, who's going to take time to get used to the league, and we can clearly see for 95% of games, we don't want Marcus up front. We want him in his best position, which is on the left. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I think Martial is going to have a significant role to play, significant in his bracket. It's not going to be, we're asking him to play 90 minutes. No, we've got Højlund. We don't need him to play 90 minutes now. But I'm telling you now, Owen, I feel like he's going to have a bigger say in some games than we think because his load is lighter.
Wow. I didn't want to sort of bring it up, Flex, yeah? Didn't want to bring it up. Didn't want to say it. Because we have officially surpassed 150,000 subscribers.
Yes.
And I didn't want to say it in case it went down. That's why. I've been hurt by this before. Oh, hey, we've terminated your contract as manager of Manchester United.
Yes, guys. I mean, this is the 100K, but I'm gonna not what's that word? Describe it. Yeah, believe. I'm gonna not that. Not believe. I was gonna indent it myself and just change that 0. I'm gonna change that second 0 there to a 5. Might just remix it. 150. Well done, community. Well done, guys. We'll get a little graphic made. That is a milestone for this channel and this community, and I'm buzzing. I'm really happy with that. The amount of support and love from being in America, what we saw, you guys supporting, saying you watch every day and stuff like that. And compared to a lot of other channels, we're the baby. We are the baby. We're the small one. We're the one on the up. We're the one who's just kind of stepped into the game. I know we've all been in this space, in different places before, but in terms of this and how this is done, it's new, it's fresh, and to be at 150K, just over 2 years, is it's heartwarming. So big up to you lot, man. Finally, yes, we hit it.
And there's been a limit as well.
What's happened? Oh, bloody hell. Ahmed has come through, and to celebrate 150k, he's given not 5, not 10, not 15, but 20 memberships. He's gifted 20 membership. I'm trying to keep up with everyone who's been given one. It's going so quick. Greg Foster, Mfundo, Rashon, Al Mac, Makish has got one. Araya, Greg, who else? It's going too quickly. It's going too quickly, but big up to Ahmed. Thank you for bringing people into the membership as well. A whole load of super chats to get out here as well. Dan says, why are we so terrible at transfers in and out? Chelsea are doing deals daily. We take weeks. My excitement for the season's gone already. So poor. Oh, a little bit of a downer there, Dan. Bloody hell, we're on the up here. But I hear what you're saying because you said that a little while ago, Dan. So we'll get back to that. David G says, are we buying players Eric Ten Hag is suggesting to the board, or are the scouts / director of football suggesting these players to him? I think a bit of both. Definitely some Eric Ten Hag type players in here. PS says, congratulations to 150k UV. You guys deserve it. Appreciate that. And Ahmed Dawson also, after donating 20 memberships, also put super chat in saying congrats on the 150k. And more importantly, congrats to every single one of you lot here watching now, 2,300 odd of you, because you lot make it what it is. You rock with us every single morning, 9 a.m. show, and that's going to continue. Even after the transfer window stops, this show will still be here. So hopefully there's still 2,300 of you then every morning, because we will be here Monday to Friday. And just everything that we're doing. We've got some stuff off our sleeve that we're looking to do in the future. That's all coming. And it's been a great ride. So yeah, long may it continue. Road to 200. Let's go. Let's go. Where was we?
Believe.
All Elite says, congratulations to you, Flex, and the UV gang. I've been here since day one when you crossed the line. And I don't go a day without watching Love, Glory, UV. Big up to you, All Elite. I always see you in the comments as well, man. So the love is appreciated. But to finish off on the Martial thing, because we've got like 6 minutes, Owen. What do you think, really quickly, before you move on?
No, I don't think he'll go. I think he'll stay, just because I think we won't get a replacement in. If we can't get a replacement in for Maguire, then we're not going to get a replacement in for Martial. Strikers are more difficult, certainly, aren't they? Speaking of replacements, with this one, it's going to be quite quick, actually. The Pavard one, not happening, basically, now. If Maguire's staying, it's not going to happen. Darmesh has said that a move for Benjamin Pavard is looking unlikely. If Harry Maguire stays, also there are FFP constraints. In the absence of money, Manchester United would have received from a Maguire sale. So, like we were saying yesterday, this one's basically completely redundant now, considering that Maguire's not going anywhere, which sucks for Pavard because he really wanted it. He was liking people's posts and commenting and all that kind of stuff. And now, doesn't look like he's going to go.
Yeah, exactly. It's redundant. Do you know what I mean? He's liking up the posts. He wants to come. He's really trying to make sure that he gets to Manchester United. But if Harry Maguire stays here, mate, that pretty much blocks that move. I'll be astonished if we get him and Maguire stays. Because that would also mean we wouldn't get a central midfielder, which would be even worse. So, yeah, I can't see that happening at all.
Yeah, no, indeed. It sucks. And also, as we're talking about moves not happening, Dean Henderson looks like he's not going to be moving away from Manchester United this summer. According to Sky Sports, Dean Henderson will remain at Manchester United this summer unless a replacement becomes available. He is considered an important member of the group, even more now that Tom Heaton is injured. Of course, Henderson did start on the bench on Monday against Wolves, so it looks like he's going to be sticking around as well. And it does go into flex, this whole, United aren't very good at selling. Kind of true. You know what I mean?
So, we have a couple of little sales and we think, right, we might be able to get some money in now. We might be able to, and then it just halts. It just halts. And then you get the reminder that we're not that good at selling again. Yeah, so that Dean Henderson thing is what it is now, isn't it? He looked like one of our most sellable assets, and it's turned into, the importance of keeping him now because Tom Heaton's injured. We let Kovar go. We let one of the other young keepers go. It has been bloated, hasn't it? The goalkeeper department for a while. So they've let quite a few go. And then now we need to keep Henderson because no one's there. I saw Henderson on the pitch yesterday, the other day, talking to their goalkeeper, Sarr. But yeah, it looks like he's going to stay now, doesn't it? I don't know how long Tom Heaton's injured for, but, I'm not going to say the goalkeeper is the least of our worries because obviously it's not. Because if something happened to Onana, say he came out for one of them crosses and got injured yesterday and couldn't play, it's Dean Henderson. He's got to play. or even that. I mean, Dean Henderson's only just come back to fitness himself, hasn't played in ages. So if we do get an injury to Onana at the minute, we are screwed. We would be screwed. So yeah, touch wood, that doesn't happen. But yeah, it looks like Henderson's going to stay now because we've got more important things to sort out as well. Now we've addressed the number one goalkeeper. We tried to get a number two, hasn't quite worked out. Then our actual number two in Heaton's got injured. And then the guy who's going to sell to Forest, you've got to say, put the brakes on. Got to look at that in January, mate.
And in terms of numbers of signings this summer, we're at 3. It's looking like at a push, it's a 4. You know, at a push.
And that's, yeah, and that one, like you said, the Amrabat's gone a bit quiet. It's not exactly like Fred was out the door and all of a sudden it's all steam ahead for Amrabat. That hasn't been
because I think the assumption was like, oh, Fred's going to go, but then, oh, yeah, we're going to get Donny's going to go or someone else is going to go. People aren't going. So it's kind of like we need someone else.
I think we could be in line for a bit of deadline day drama. We haven't had that for... Was Ronaldo deadline day?
Technically, it was, yes.
What was it?
Anthony last year was deadline. Well, Ronaldo's was announced on deadline day. You know, he had the double announcement. He had the double announcement. He had the one where it was like a few days before. Then it actually got, unveiled.
Announced.
Anthony,
what was the Anthony one? We agreed that before though, but we actually said it.
But he was another one. He was announced on deadline day, wasn't he? I believe early.
But I mean the crazy one of like we don't even know who we get on deadline day. Yeah. But then again, if it was Amrabat on deadline day, we would have kind of known we was in.
Exactly. I'm not sure at this stage that, like you said, because in fairness, last year, like the Casemiro one, that was really quick. Like came out like we're getting Casemiro. Everyone, we're getting Casemiro, and then it happened. I don't know if I see that happening to United this time where it's like out of nowhere, we're getting this person. It felt honestly like maybe like a Pavard or Tadiba was kind of like that. Like, oh, it's come out of nowhere. We're getting this person. Unless it's this midfielder that isn't Amrabat, I don't know who it would be.
Yeah, it would have to be someone we haven't heard about all summer, basically. But we have to get one. We've got to get another midfielder, haven't we, really? But yeah. We could show... We questioned, Owen, before you take us out, really quickly, we questioned whether we could get what was it? How many was it? We thought it was a bit much. And you said believe was it 27?
I think it was like 27, maybe 30, something like that.
Good.
Maybe
that's really good within the space of an hour. So really happy about that.
Indeed, there you go. So, guys, be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't. Join over 150,000 of us. More content is on the way in the future. Check out yesterday's Flex and KG show. We're out of here. Peace.